Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and all you other kick-ass cryptids out there, and welcome to Scrubhaus Video Club Live. My name is Glowcat, but you can call me Adri because we're friends, and that's a raccoon.
That
and
is
with me, as always, is...
I am Skunk Rocker, and I do not have a skunk that I can... I could get one, but I'm lazy.
Ah.
It's so cute. I want to pet it. I just looked at when I was talking about when Rocket Raccoon was added to the MCU with Guardians of the Galaxy. I was like, he's so cute. I want to hug him. And my friend Jamie Hall, who many people who watch this show will know as Boomer. Boomer just turns to me and he's just all like, "I hope he eats your fucking face." It says he hates furries. So whenever I'm just all like, "I want to pet the cute little animal," he's just all like, "I hope you die." You know. He's a weird guy like that. He would joke around like that, but with all the love in the world.
We do not advertise nearly enough whenever we go live, like we used to. But
I know we have 2 people watching already, though. Look at that.
All right. Yeah, no, there's some stuff up there.
And one of them's Brian. Brian's tuning in, which is awesome. Hi, Brian. And Dan. Yeah.
Hey Dan, I like that. Go ahead and highlight that. That lets us. So here's the thing.
My birthday is tomorrow.
Yes, it is, and because your birthday is tomorrow, I decided the best thing that we could do this week on Scrubhaus Video Club Live is, well, we still have video in the name here, and I feel like we'll have you talk about your favorite movie.
This is by the way is foreshadowing because you know what this means. You know what this means. When September rolls around, Audrey's going to take an entire episode to talk about their favorite movie.
Yeah, I have multiple different favorite movies, so it really depends. I get to choose.
Oh, we're going to talk about my favorite movie, which you actually can have playing on the TV behind you. And Alice just woke up.
Yeah.
There's handsome Dan the football man. And then here comes... it's Robert Englund. Holy crap. You can see how blurred out and white the TV is, and I know exactly what's happening on it because I know this movie so well.
So there's a part in this movie that I want to bring up right now.
Well, real quick. Let's say what the movie is. It is A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child. There it is. That is the New Line release, not the media home video.
Yeah, that's release. The digitally remastered. I have the New Line. I have the.
It looks fantastic, but it looks fantastic. But the problem is that digitally remastered VHS tape release does look awesome. The problem is that it is censored.
Let me run to the other room.
Go get the gift. Go get it. Go get my birthday gift that I paid for. And in reality, it really is an actual gift because Audrey's doing something really, really super cool with this. When Audrey comes back, I'll show you what it is. Check out my cool background. I feel like I'm Cyber Job. Look like Lawnmower Man.
Tweet it out.
Do you have it?
Back.
Do you have it? Hold it up.
This isn't a gift. You bought this.
I bought this.
I guess this is a gift for yourself.
I'm going to explain the gift part. That is a Nightmare on Elm Street 5 media Laserdisc.
Well, technically, it's image.
That's the media in the corner, but
it's there. It's like the budget imprint of media. It's what Video Treasures went on to be.
So check this out. Here's the gift part. Audrey's ripping the Laserdisc to digital. We will have a digital, uncensored version of Nightmare on Elm Street 5. Now it's still going to be in 4:3. It's not going to be in widescreen, which is what I want. But it's still going to be there.
There's a movie on here.
That is so cool. I can't wait to get that Laserdisc in my hands, even though I'll never be able to watch it. That's why the digital version would be great.
This is called an elephant condom, like universally called an elephant condom in the Laserdisc world.
Joe, what the hell are you doing? He's like slamming stuff in the end of the room. I didn't know that making chicken Alfredo required you to like slam furniture around.
Fucking hibachi chef today. Hibachi Joe. Oh, hibachi Joe.
Hibachi Joe. Hi.
I'm gonna
Anyway.
call him Hibachi Joe.
Better than Kabuki Joe. Do you remember? You remember War Gods, the arcade game?
I
Later
remember
it was on
War
N64?
Gods.
Yeah, Kabuki Joe. One of my favorite characters to play as. Every character in that game ruled, but I usually played as Sci-5. Yes, the full-length, uncensored version contains material not seen in the theatrical release. That is awesome. So
it doesn't say that it has the Houdini video on it, but it does.
Oh, that's awesome too. Yeah, so you're gonna get a high-quality version of the Houdini video, which already existed.
Yeah, but now you're gonna get it ripped from Laserdisc.
But now we're gonna have to rip from Laserdisc version. So that's pretty dope.
Yeah, I'm gonna slide it back here.
So Nightmare on Elm Street
back here. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. That came in.
Oh, you want to show off your Darkman? Hey, we're supposed to be talking about Nightmare 5, not Darkman.
Okay, but before you do that,
Die, Darkman, Die.
I got that recently too.
Oh yes, the Gwar album.
And that was not Darkman 2. That was Darkman 3. Darkman, Die.
Yeah, Die, Darkman, Die. That's what I said.
Yes, the Darkman,
Yes, because Darkman 2 is the Return of Durant.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Larry Drake came back, but
Larry Drake,
motherfucking
Larry Drake.
You know, he didn't come back. Oh, Liam Neeson. He's when we're getting to Arnold Vosloo territory, which is weird because Arnold Vosloo is not a stand-in for Liam Neeson, but strangely is a stand-in for Billy Zane. They get confused a lot.
So I like Billy Zane, who was not in Nightmare 5. His sister was in Nightmare 6, though. True story.
And Billy Zane is in Critters.
Billy Zane is in Demon Knight, which I know you're a fan of. And I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
I love me some Demon Knight. Demon Knight.
In the off chance that my brother is in the chat, which has happened in the past, he's a really big Demon Knight fan. He has the stars tattooed on the inside of his palm. So if Gritty is here,
Gritty. I liked Gritty when I met Gritty. But anyway, Nightmare 5. All right, so I guess we're gonna do this. Are we gonna do this like Dead Meat, Decker, Shadow, the Nostalgia Critic style? Just go from the very beginning all the way to the very end, or how do you want me to do this?
I don't care. I just want you to talk about your favorite movie because you like to talk about it. Like, let's be fair here. The amount of times that I have just had to sit there, and you have to because I'm in the same room with you, and whenever you start going, you don't stop. Have had to listen to you talk about this movie.
I figured that other people.
You
said you said there was a scene in this movie you wanted to talk to me about. Bring up the scene and we'll go from there.
It's a statement. It's something that's said, and I've never heard it anywhere else. I've kind of heard it, but not like this. And I do believe that it's Dan that says it. I could be mistaken. It's whenever it first cuts to the school and they're all in the graduation. He's doing the speech, and at the end, he says, "Now let's blow this pop stand."
Yeah, let's blow this pop stand.
I've never heard pop stand. This is the only time I've ever heard that. I don't know if he fucked up with his line delivery or what, but it's supposed to be popsicle stand.
Well, I like pop stand, and you know what? You know what's really fun about that? You know who really likes that line is James A. Janice, because he puts it in his Dead Meat stuff all the time. And I'm like, I one time tried to ask him. I said, he didn't answer my question, but I asked him, it's like if you hate Nightmare 5 so much, why do you constantly quote that one fucking scene? It is great, yeah. And now in the book. The novelization had a different line. The line was, the world is your oyster, so suck it until it's dry. And if you see the glass is half empty, piss in it until it's full.
I like that more.
Yeah. The novelization is really super cool. The novelization has some stuff that's worse than the movie and some stuff that's better than the movie.
Like the Gremlins 2 novelization, which is like around here somewhere. There are parts in that book that are way better than parts of Gremlins 2 as a movie. But Gremlins 2 as a movie is probably a better movie than Gremlins 2 is as a book.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Nightmare 5 in the novelization, like the one of my favorite scenes in the entire film. Actually, all the death scenes are great, but Dan's nightmare in the truck when he goes flying out the windshield, He hits the ground and he's surrounded by glass. His clothes are all cut up. The phone's ran and there's nobody around it. He just freaks out, panics, and runs out the door. That's not what happens in novelization. Novelization, as soon as he hits the windshield, he jumps up off of the towel and he's like, like, oh my God, I fell asleep. Wait, where did everybody go? And he's looking around and a security guard shows up. And the security guard's got his nightstick, and they named the security guard. The guy's got a name. I forget what it is. It's something like Belcher or something like that. And when he says something to Dan, and Dan's like, "Oh God, it's Freddy again." But he turns around and it's the security guard. He's all sitting there. He's really PO'd, and he's like taking the nightstick and he's smacking beer bottles and stuff around. It's like, oh, you kids have a good time trashing the school. You know, you're going to jail, you little shit. And he's like, I don't have time for this. So he goes running out the door, and the security guard's like, get back here. And he runs out. He gets to his truck and realizes he doesn't have his keys on him at all, and he can't get the truck door open. He turns around and he sees the motorcycle sitting there. It's actually the security guard's bike. So when he jumps on the security guard's bike, the security guard goes chasing after him, going, "Come back with my bike, you fucking prick!"
So the scene,
but then Freddy shows up, and Freddy does there's actually something really cool in the novelization that they couldn't show on film at the time period. They could do it now. Back then, it would have been impossible. The handlebars, where the clutch lever and the brake lever are on the handlebars, break off into claws, and they grab onto him. Right, which is like, imagine just 4 pieces of metal floating in air that just grab onto him and rip down into him, which is something that happens
whenever he crashes through the windshield, right?
Yeah,
in that scene, and then he rolls down he kind of rolls down the bleachers. I wonder how many times he fell in the pool, because he is right there.
Yeah, well, I wonder about that myself. The stunt guy who did that, because I've read an interview about the stunt guy. There's 2 things about the stunt guy that he talked about. That the stunt double for Danny Hassel, he never talked about falling into the pool. He did talk about the fact that they had to do that shot several times.
Yeah,
because he kept missing his mark. He's supposed to land on the towel, and he kept missing the towel. But he never said he fell into the pool. The other one was that the first time he got on the bike. And you can see it if you go back and look. You can see where the burnout marks are from the previous takes. The first time he got on the bike, he didn't realize how much power a VMAX had. So when he first got on it, apparently he just went boom, just took it onto the ground instantly. And you can actually see one of the burnout marks goes about like a foot this way, and it stops.
Like
where he just went boom and immediately hit the ground. They used the Yamaha VMAX, and I will say Nightmare on Elm Street 5 is what got me interested in the Yamaha VMAX in the first place. But then I looked up the actual bike, and it was the world's, at the time period, is why they used it in the film, because it was that cool of a bike back in the 80s. You got to understand that back in the 80s, Harley Davidsons were not the bike. There were 2 major motorcycle companies at the time period in the 1980s, and they were both Japanese. It was Honda and Yamaha. Because Honda had a bunch of bikes, the Rebel series and the CB series and a bunch of other ones. Yamaha, though, had the VMAX, and it was at the time period, the world's fastest production motorcycle with a top speed of about 185 miles an hour. And it was powerful. I mean, they built a straight up muscle bike, and it's a cruiser. And what's really cool about it, if you watch the film, first off, the instrument cluster that Freddy's face comes out of when he's all robo face, that's not real. They had to build that for the movie. That's not real. The actual instrument cluster, if you look at the film when you're watching it, you can actually see it. It's on the gas tank. It's like underneath it. Where the instrument cluster in the film is actually where the speedometer goes. And the speedometer is actually just one big speedometer, and then everything else is below that on the gas tank. The gas tank's fake. By the way, the actual fuel tank for the Yamaha VMAX is under the seat. All the gas tank is there to do is to A, look like a motorcycle, B, hold the instrument cluster, and C, that's where the intakes are, because the bike has a supercharger on it. That's why it's so powerful. It has a legit super. It's like, think about the big bug catcher with the tunnel rams on the muscle cars. That's what it had. So it legit had something that would suck air in to get additional, power and stuff. It is neat. It's super neat. There it went. The stained glass in the church just exploded.
I'm looking here because my stepfather had a Yamaha when I was growing up, and I'm trying to figure out what model it was. And I know it wasn't a VMAX.
It's probably one of the stars.
Probably it was a cruiser style. It was
V Star, probably a V Star.
Probably.
They get mistaken for VMAXs a lot because they're kind of like the step down from the VMAX, but they were more like the Gold Wing style cruisers.
I'm looking at an auto.
You see Freddie's claw. You can see Freddie's claw on the TV. That was awesome. Something that's really awesome about this scene, but a lot of people don't understand is, and obviously you can barely see it on Adri's TV, but Freddie has an elongated arm, right? He has this really long arm for some reason, and a lot of people are confused why that is, right? It actually says it in the film script that the reason why he has that extra long messed up arm is because the Souls ripped him apart at the end of the last movie, and they were gonna keep it throughout the whole film. Unfortunately, what they discovered was that the prosthetic extra long arm that they were using meant that they had to do it just looked hokey and fake, and they decided, you know what, we're not going to do that anymore. They just get rid of the arm and just let Robert be Robert.
SRV. It was a Yamaha SRV.
Oh, an SRV? I don't know what an SRV looks like. Let me look that up.
It looks, it's definitely a cruiser, but at the same time, definitely a Yamaha.
Wait, did you say SRV?
Yes.
Oh. SRV 250S?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, I see what you're talking about. It's kind of a cafe racer. Yeah. When I typed in SRV, the first thing that came up was a snowmobile, and I was really confused.
We had a snowmobile. It was also a motorcycle.
We had a snowmobile in Arkansas. He's just driving it around on the roads.
He had an Argo at one point too. If you remember what those are.
No, I don't know what an Argo is.
It's like a duck, but also a it's a utility Argo vehicle that's a boat and like a 6-wheeler.
Oh, it's like an 8-wheeler. It looks like.
Possibly, I don't remember. I just remember that he had one, and we used to.
Oh, they do have a 6-wheeler version of it. Argo is Canadian manufacturer of amphibious all-terrain vehicles, founded in 1962. It is they 6x6 and 8x8 amphibious extreme terrain vehicles, as well as 4-wheel ATVs. We didn't have an Argo, but my dad did have a 6-wheeler we would screw around on occasion.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, no. One of the other differences between the movie and the book that I find really interesting is that in the original version of the story, the story got changed a bunch. There was like 4 different writers on this thing, 2 of whom didn't even get credited.
I had to burp really hardcore. I didn't want to burp into the mic. Yeah. No, just big gigantic burp.
No,
let me see your chamber of secrets. That's what I was.
That is a pickup line for all of you out there who are fans of Harry Potter for some weird reason. I shouldn't say that. I'm sure there's people that are good people that are fans of Harry Potter that's not fans of that shitty author that wrote it.
Yeah. Fuck her. Actually, don't fuck her. And the guy in the fucking asshole who played Voldemort, actually a bad person. Who would have thought it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, Robert Englund's a good person, and he plays a bad guy.
Yeah, but Robert Englund has a nose. Rob Liefeld characters are always evil.
So you got and Robert Englund's played some good guys too. So let's just Let's be fair. No, the comic book character. Everybody knows about the comic book character, Mark. He's like, technically, he's like the second most famous character in the film. Can
I be open about something with him?
With Mark?
Yeah.
Or with Mark or Joe Seeley?
Yes. Either Mark is written not well, or Joe Seeley just didn't really know how to act, because his character, like his line delivery, is terrible. His line delivery is absolutely terrible.
I thought his line delivery was great. I just think that the idea that went through my head was like, okay, either he doesn't understand he's supposed to be from Ohio, or in his mind he's thinking like this character moved to Ohio, which makes sense because we never see that character in the last film at all.
The way that he delivers his lines, though, it's so alien as compared to everybody else. And I know that like he's supposed to be like the outcast style one, but if I talked like this every time we had a discussion,
it's very Californian.
It would be very annoying.
He's very Californian.
Very not real. Skunk.
No, he's very Californian. Like his line delivery is everything is very California. He's got that California surfer thing.
I like his character. I just think that his line delivery isn't good. His line delivery, like it actually,
I think it's great.
Takes me out of the film. I'm
like, that's not how somebody from Ohio would talk. He doesn't talk like an Ohioan. He talks like somebody from Southern California. His line delivery is very bodacious, man. Like every line is like this, where he's just like, that's their problem. You know, he talks like Bodie.
It's the way that he inflects. Like it isn't just him. It's also what is that character's name?
Which one?
The one that doesn't believe them the entire time until Mark dies. Yvonne. Yvonne's character isn't delivered very well either. But I feel like everybody else did a damn bang up good job.
Yeah, the thing is I like Joe Seeley. I think Joe Seeley is a fantastic actor. I agree with you partly, but I disagree with you about everything else. I think he's a fine character. I think he's a great actor. I just think that like he should have been more Ohio and not so Southern California, because he was very Southern California in the role. But
the entire
that also
dialogue
goes along with him being a skater.
The entire dialogue that I know that you can likely quote from memory whenever they were at the party.
I can quote the whole entire movie from memory.
Okay. So the way that they interject with each other in that situation, with specifically Mark and Yvonne, is they don't give any breath between anything, and the way that it rapid fires, you can tell that it's written.
With her being you're talking about Yvonne's line where she says it was we announced to go in Europe and nothing screamed a whole lot and tried to convince us to throw my life away. Who's throwing their life away? Dan, and he's taking Alice with him. It's a pretty good dive, Yvonne. You've been practicing. That's right. 6 hours. 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. Aren't you going in? Or no. The girl goes. No. Greta goes. Have another one. I think you need it. Now I got to shift in a couple hours. Aren't you going in?
Mm-hmm. That just the way that is very written, and I feel like that probably has to do with a lot of this movie being rushed and stuff like that. It could have used some rewrites.
Mark's, and then you have Mark's later line right after that was where he goes like, he's right. Sometimes it will feel like living with militarities.
Yes, Jesus fucking Christ, that entire line where like who's Melisarides, and then he like says what it is.
Melisarides is this ancient guy I read about, right? Who like killed his kids because he didn't like the way they were running the kingdom. That's what I mean by Southern California. He's got that.
And then the girl grabs the glass and cuts her hand, and he's just like,
God, I could have gone all night without looking at that.
And then that entire, and I think that's.
But then Greta does the same exact thing in the next line though, because she's like, I think it's very strange. You draw your comics loaded with blood and guts.
Yeah, it's so like stage play.
It's just a little one guy. I know what it is.
It's not realistic,
big, dumb jock
at all. And I know that's weird because it's like we're talking about. Oh, hey, Dan just died. Australian. Australian, right there.
There's the Australian guy. So it's this actor. This actor right here. He's Australian, and you can tell he's Australian because he loses his American accent for one line.
It's the last line.
He jumps out of the truck for one word. He jumps out of the truck, and he's just all like, "He came fucking flying out of nowhere. He was some kind of a freaking jet. I didn't even see him."
Yeah, like the last line is. It's a good. That's the thing about this movie is like we know it was rushed, right?
And like, okay, if you saw Dream Master, you know Lisa Wilcox can act.
Yes,
and she fucking blows big fat donkey dick in this movie. Like she just every line that she has is so stilted and wooden. She's the worst actor in the entire film, in my opinion.
See, I think that she did a good job.
What the fuck? Dude, you were a good actor in the last movie. What the fuck happened? You know, and it's still one of my favorite performances of hers. But Jesus, like she did a good job in Dream Master. Dream Master, she was very much like, yeah, this is kind of a weird situation we're in. And then when she had to be a badass, she was like, all right, I'm gonna kick some Kruger ass, you know. But in this movie, she's just all like, you know, there's the line later on in the film where she's talking to Mark. And Mark says, you know, he wishes that he had the same courage that the comic book character he's a fan of, the Phantom Prowler. Mm-hmm. He wishes he had the same courage. It's like, you know, man, if only I had a tenth of his guts. You know, he's not even real. And he's more of a human being than I am. Out of nowhere, Lisa as Alice just goes, "This guy's not one of your comic book characters, Mark. He's not the Phantom Prowler. He's for real." And it's like, you could have delivered that line a little bit better. Again, they were rushed. He invited
me to his house last night.
Well, I like that line. I like the way he invited me to his house last night. Like real smart ass.
It was very pouty. Like I know that you love the character and like design wise and conceptual wise. I think that Mark is a great character.
Well, he has one really great moment in this movie, and I think you have to agree it's one of the best moments in the film. Because he falls into the hole, and when he falls into the hole actually is like paper thin. He gets paper cuts on his hands from hanging on the edge of the hole because the hole is just, it's paper. The whole entire joke with him is that everything's paper because he's the comic book guy. When he comes out of the hole and he goes to run off, he realizes he's bleeding and he holds his hands up and goes, "What the fuck? Oh shit!"
that was. And here's the thing, like looking into him, I didn't know that he was originally a comedy actor, like prior to this. Like he's part of SCTV.
Oh, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was he's done and he did a role with the SCTV guys too. He was part of he was one of the punk guys. You could see him actually at the very beginning of Armed and Dangerous when
number one.
Eugene Levy goes into court, and it's the Charlie Manson analog, and you actually see him. He looks, except for his clothes, exactly like Mark. I mean, he's still got the blonde fringe and the black underneath his brown hair. It looks exactly the same. He stands up and he's aye, like one of the punk kids in that scene. It's great to see him. It's like, hey, there's Mark. But before he moved to Springwood and got murdered, he was a member of the Manson family, apparently.
Yeah, and then he was in a movie called Tough Guys where he played gang member number 4, and then he was in Saint Elsewhere where he played Street Kid.
Yeah,
he was in a movie called Shag where he played a character called the Creep.
Creep, yeah. I've never seen Shag. I've seen posters for Shag, and I've always wanted to see it. But it looks weird.
It's just weird to think that he's like gang member in most things. I guess like Greaser gang member makes sense for him.
He usually puts out. Now, do you know what he does now, though? I've told you. I don't know if you remember.
I don't remember.
Joe C. Lee is now a puppeteer. He makes puppets for stage shows, and the puppets he makes are the kind of things that you would see at Silent Hill. I mean, they're amazing.
I'm used to people that make puppets. Like, I'm a big fan of War. I'm a big fan of fucking Green Jello. All these are puppeteers.
He's
Like,
a
all
he's
of
a
them are.
big he's a
Radioactive chicken heads.
he won some awards for his puppetry. So I'm glad. And also something else really cool most people don't know about Joe Seeley. If you look through his later acting catalog, Joe Seeley is a Native American. He's an indigenous person. He did a lot of roles where he played Native Americans in westerns. So that's pretty cool. You know, that he gets to kind of play play in those westerns and like historical stuff. And that's pretty neat. You know, to kind of live in his heritage, which is pretty cool.
Well, on his fight with Freddy Krueger in Nightmare 5, I don't know how he beat me, frankly, because I was a badass.
He did talk about that on the documentary. It's like he never fired guns before. So he has these 2 prop guns, and they have blanks in them. And he said they were legit 9mm that they gussied up to look cool. And when he fired them, they had recoil, so it was like pow pow. You know, he was.
You got to be careful with prop guns. Lloyd Kaufman. Well, we'll tell you all about it. Like after
I think Brandon
after
Lee
Citizen
has a better
Toxie,
story.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a better story because, but I'm saying
he can't tell a better story because he's fucking
Citizen
dead.
Toxie almost went bankrupt because of terrible fucking prop firearms that shot blanks. Like they kept jamming up in the school sequence at the beginning of the movie, and it cost Lloyd like 4 days of shooting, and he had to pay for the prop master to be able to use the guns and shit. And like Lloyd is like, I don't use guns in movies anymore. I don't use legitimate fake guns in movies anymore with blanks. He's like, I refuse to pay for it. It almost bankrupted us. So apparently it's expensive.
I will say this. I looked this up because I was curious one day. For film purposes, obviously. I wasn't going to just buy guns.
I mean, okay.
The guns designed specifically for film that are designed specifically to shoot blanks and blanks only are made with a specific caliber so that you can't actually load real cartridges into them. And I think this was because of Brandon Lee's passing. So instead of 9mm, it's 8mm, which is really hard to find a legit bullet for.
And they're weird and stubby, and they look all strange.
They look weird. Blanks look weird in general. We made our own blanks once, me and a buddy of mine, out of shotgun shells.
Yeah, you can easily do that.
We emptied all of the shell out of the buckshot, and then we filled them back up with black powder so that it would make a big flash when we fired it. That wouldn't do anything else. Then one time we tried filling one we filled one with ketchup once.
Did you ever watch Demolition Range?
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, I used to love what they did. Like whenever we were younger, we did some shit like that too, but we used black pepper. Like actually like peppercorn ground pepper, and using the normal shot load in there, and then whenever it shot out, just shoot a gigantic like cloud.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Really cool stuff you could do with that. No, so the original design, when the original authors of the script, the first 2 guys wrote the movie, that part with the quote unquote comic book character was not supposed to be a comic book character. It was a goth artist, and she had a loft, just like he did, except instead of comic book artistry, it was paintings. She was big into paintings. And there was supposed to be this really cool...
Like that Silent Hill comic. Except that was a guy.
Yeah. Or it's very much Pickman's Gallery. If you know Lovecraft.
Yeah.
The nightmare that she was going to have was going to be very, like, all these different art forms. Like Freddy coming out and being, like, Picasso Freddy and, like Van Gogh Freddy and stuff like that. And it was supposed to go all these different ways with it. And then eventually she would get trapped in one of her paintings, and that was going to be the death of her. It was going to be more Wishmaster than it would be Nightmare. It was very the concept behind it
would have been
cool.
very Nightmare if it happened, and then
the problem is
it's expensive.
The director, Stephen Hopkins, is a big comic book nerd. In fact, the comics in the film, all those Marvel comics that are on the floor and stuff, That was not a publishing deal with Marvel, because Marvel did produce 2 issues of Nightmare on Elm Street, but that wasn't the reason why. All of those comics, that's actually Stephen Hopkins' personal collection.
Ooh.
Yep. So
he's an interesting director, to say the least.
He was a big comic book nerd, and so he was the one. He actually, all the storyboards, he was the person who drew a lot of the storyboards for the film. They have a different storyboard artist who's credited, who helped out, but a lot of them he would just, because instead of being a normal director, he was very Kevin Smith in the way that he directs. Stephen Hopkins is very Kevin Smith in the way he directs. Where Kevin Smith will be like, try doing it like this, right? And then he would look over at the director of photography and be like, what lens are we using? You use this lens. Like this one, he did. He just directs by going like, I have other people for that, and I know what I want to see, and I just want you to just try to figure it out the way that I do it. Not a regular. He's not a regular director in the fact of like, I want you to put out the emotion of being, your heart is broken, and we're going to be filming this with a 50mm lens. It's not like that at all with him. And Stephen Hopkins the same way. Stephen Hopkins, instead of giving like regular direction, will actually just draw out a storyboard real quick.
Well, he
would do that. He would sit there and he talked about doing it on the set of Nightmare 5. He would just pull out. Robert Englund was like, I was trying to figure out how we're going to do this scene and how we're going to act it. And Stephen just pulled out a sketch pad and said it'll look like this and drew it real quick. And it was amazing. And those scenes ended up being the Mark's comic later. And that's what it was. Those scenes in the comic that Mark's reading, those were all storyboard shots.
Well, I see his rise as a director. Like, he did Dangerous Game, and that got him enough like attention that he made Nightmare 5, which did well enough that he was able to go on to do Predator 2 and then Judgment Night.
Predator 2 is one of my favorites, and not because Steven directed it. It was one of my favorites because I just love that movie.
He did Blown Away, did a couple episodes of Tales from the Crypt. He did The Ghost of the Darkness. Then he did Lost in Space. And then right after he did Lost in Space, all of a sudden he directs for TV now.
Yeah, it takes one bad film.
He did Under Suspicion, but Under Suspicion wasn't critically received very well either, and it just...
Blown Away, though. Blown Away is one of my favorite films.
Yeah.
And Predator 2. I just like everything the guy does. I think he's got a really good visual style on film, and I just like the way that he produces his films.
Well, he made the new Dark Tower TV movie, which I don't think actually came out. I think it was supposed to come out in 2020, and then it just didn't happen. But
now,
he's working on that, and that could be fucking great. On the flip
side of that, Nightmare 4, right, was Rennie Harlan. Now, Rennie Harlan did Cliffhanger. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Rennie Harlan's a weird fucking guy. Weird and Swedish.
So Nightmare
now,
5.
And Freddy's Dead is a favorite of yours. That's Rachel Talalay, and she did Tank Girl and produced Touching Evil, which is a TV show that was awesome. Have you ever seen Touching? I remember watching the first episode of Touching Evil and seeing that it was produced and the first episode was directed by Rachel Talalay. I went, this is a good show. I already know who that is. I'm hyped.
She did a bunch of good shit. Like she did Ghost in the Machine, which was a movie that I also enjoy.
And they had what was that guy's name? He played Michael on Burn Notice. He was in it. Jeffrey something or another. He was in Touching Evil, and he was great. Did you ever see that show? That's about the cop that got shot in the head, and he no longer had a conscience because he got shot in the head, so he just did stuff. Like a schizophrenic cop.
Interesting.
No, it was great. He would screw with, like, the first episode has about an airplane, and he just starts screwing with people. It's just, he starts hitting the fucking call button for the attendant. Like getting the flight attendant over, and he kept doing it even though she was standing right there, and he would just keep hitting and his like nurse or whatever, because it was sort of like the dark version of Monk. She was like, "Stop it, just stop it." He's like, "No, I have to hit the button again."
So with the Greta death scene,
that was something in the book that sucked.
I mean, I think the actual version in the film it does fine. I think the unrated version doesn't have. You don't have to see that. Like it just
It
because
helps.
I don't think it does. I don't think it does at all. I think that the death scene is just it's kind of weird as it is, but it pulls it off. It's one of those situations where Nightmare was running out of steam at this point. I mean, Freddy's Dead came out after this, and then they kiboshed the series for a while.
True. A
So
lot of that
they
was
were
Bob, though. I mean, if they had really taken their time with this movie, Nightmare 5 would have been
Yeah.
more celebrated.
Oh, I'm
but
sure.
they did it in like fucking 9 months.
because Nightmare 4 was really well received.
Yeah, which is shocking to me because this is one of the worst films.
Yeah, you say that, but I know a lot of people that think 4 is one of their favorites, and
I
then
don't understand
5
why.
spits in its face. I don't know. I
understand
can't
why.
talk. My favorite is Freddy's Dead, so obviously I got terrible taste. But
I think that Nightmare 4, I think the big problem with Nightmare 4, right? The big problem with Nightmare 4 is it's the MTV, it's the pop culture nightmare.
Mhm.
And I think, like, I mean, they do so much. Like, the death scenes in that movie are great, except one, which is the Rick scene. We all know the Rick scene sucks, but they ran out of money. Because the original version of that scene, which was storyboarded and everything, it's even in the novelization, was even worse than what they were going to film. Did you know about that? You know what the original death scene for Rick was?
no.
The elevator was supposed to fall apart.
Oh. Yeah.
Instead, the elevator lands and he goes into that. That scene would have been better if we got Robert Englund in a fucking red and green karate gi just beating the shit. But instead, we did the invisible Freddy thing because I don't know why. It was stupid.
It's weird.
It was really bad. In my opinion, I don't like that one as much as I like the others. I think Nightmare. You know what? Part of the problem with me is that I think Nightmare 4 is overrated. That's part of the problem. Nightmare 4 is overrated.
I feel that way about. I feel that way about. I would say probably Friday the 13th Part 4 is the way that I look at Part 4 for that. Overrated, good movie, but
yeah, and like Nightmare Friday the 13th Part 4 is not a bad film.
yeah, it's just
But
overrated.
people act like it's the end all be all, and I'm like, motherfucker,
I mean,
you're in a
Corey
world where
Feldman,
Part 6 exists.
Yeah, you're also in a world where Part 1 exists. Like that's the thing about the Friday the 13th series.
Part 3 is better than Part 4.
Part 3, I wouldn't say that. Part 3 is lambasted because of the whole 3D aspect, but I mean,
I know people don't
I
like
could talk
5.
about. Yeah.
People don't like 5. I like
5's just not a good movie. Five
I
is
like
not a
5.
good movie
I think 5's
structurally.
okay. I think 5 is okay. I don't think it's the best in the series.
Just
You also
structurally,
know.
you also hate everybody in that except for like 2 characters. Well,
Yeah,
technically 3.
Well, 3. I was gonna say, don't. What about Demon? Or were you including Demon?
I was including Demon already. I was like, oh yeah, Demon's girlfriend. I forgot she was cool as shit too.
She's cool. Yeah, it's Demon, Demon's girlfriend,
and then their little brother. I can't remember his fucking Reggie. That's it. That's
Yeah.
it. Those are the best characters in that movie.
Yeah. Oh, what do you know? A movie that's filled with 90% white people, and the 3 black characters are the ones everybody likes.
They were really fun characters. That was the problem with Part 5. Is Part 5 had the ability to go fun, and it didn't, which is why I think that Part 6 ended up embracing it as much as it did. So even though Part 5 was fucking terrible, you wouldn't have Part 6 without Part 5 being what it is. So I recognize that. But Part 5 is a movie that just it's not even written well.
Yeah.
Almost all the characters are unlikable. It's structured in a way that it acts like it's a whodunit, but there's no way you could know whodunit. And the only time that Roy is brought back like at all, it's like right before you find out that he's Jason. So they like show him for a second. Like literally, he has like fucking 20 seconds of screen time.
Yeah,
and they give you no hints.
I think in total. Ray knowing that it's Ray, like Ray, the person Ray, not the guy in the Jason mask, but Ray is like what? Like a total of like maybe 4 or 5 minutes total in the whole film. And that's including the scene where they look down and oh god, it was the ambulance driver the entire time.
Roy.
See,
yeah.
Nightmare 5 doesn't pull some bullshit like that.
No.
Nightmare 5. Oh, well, you know what? Let's talk about one of the big controversial things about Nightmare 5 though. one of the big controversial things about Nightmare 5, it's a movie with a kid. At any time you bring kids into film. But I want to say that I think the biggest amount of bullshit in the world is the fact that they always refer to that kid as he's the raptor kid from Jurassic Park. I'm sorry. I am absolutely 100% sick of that. Whit Hertford didn't fucking star. He's the title character of the film, for God's sake, to just be referred to as the raptor kid from Jurassic Park. And he did a fantastic job in this movie. Whit Hertford fucking knocked it out of the park.
He's good.
Except for one line, because they had to change it because I don't know why. They never explained why they changed the line. I think somebody at New Line, either somebody at New Line or Whit's mother, somebody was just all like, we can't have a child say the F word. Because the original line wasn't "School's out, Kruger." The original line in that scene was "Fuck you, Kruger," which would have been great. I just want a 5-year-old kid just being like "Fuck you." Like,
I kind of looked up to him a little bit as a kid because I was also a kid with shitty, like, gigantic bags under my eyes. Like, it's probably hard to tell because of the lighting. You see me in person, I always have bags under my eyes.
Tilt your head up. Tilt your head up. You can see them.
Yeah. You can. I got some Whit Hertford eyes. And as a kid, like being a kid that had that, everybody was like, "Oh, you look creepy." But I didn't care. Like I thought that this kid was cool and he was able to do it. He's been a lot of shit. It's weird that to call him the Jurassic Park kid. I understand.
The weirdest thing about him is though. He's a little older than us because he was like 5 in Nightmare 5. He's like 5 years old or whatever, 5-6 years old. And, we were born in 86, so we were only like a few years old when that movie came out.
He was born in 78, so he's got some years on me. But.
Oh, he was 11 when he made that? Holy shit. So he's 11 years old. That means that he was 7 when we were born, right? Glee came out a few years ago. We were already in our late 20s, which means that he was in his 30s and he was playing a high school student.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Is he kind of looks old and young? He's has a baby face, but with the oldest man eyes that you can have and still have a baby face.
I would love to meet Whit Hertford. I think he's a cool fucking dude. Hey, you want to know what else though? Right? He was on, I want to say it was Full House. He had a recurring role on Full House. I think it was Full House. It was a sitcom. I know that.
Was it? Yeah, it was Full House. He was Walter.
Yeah, he had a recurring role on that show. And no one remembers him being in Full House. No one remembers him being in Nightmare 5. I've seen him in other things.
Something about 1989 that people just don't remember, apparently.
Because it was the end of the most glorious decade of our lives, and we don't remember
what he did that year in 1989 is he did Mr. Belvedere, The Further Adventures of Super Ted, Nightmare 5, and Full House. And nobody remembers him in any of those things. Whitby Hertford's 1989 is just erased from most people's memories.
Which is all they remember about him. And even he made jokes about it. The only thing anybody ever knows him from is Jurassic Park. And I was like, but it's not, man. You were known for so much more.
Park. They call him Volunteer Boy.
Yeah,
which sounds like a
slur. Everybody calls him Raptor Kid because he's the one who's it's not scary. And then Dr. Grant makes him look like a bitch. I tell you that I want to finish this, right? I want to finish this discussion about Nightmare 5 by telling you my favorite things about the film.
Okay, go for it.
And the number one thing is the soundtrack. Right.
You really love Houdini.
I do love Houdini, but that's not what I meant. I meant the motion picture score. It is done by Jay Ferguson, Thunder Island Jay Ferguson. And Jay Ferguson loves him some DX7 slap bass. He uses it all over the soundtrack.
He also it really likes using music cues, like big music cues. That's the one thing that I noticed about that. Yeah, because it almost everything starts with some kind of sting. My favorite sting is actually at the beginning, of the motorcycle scene, where it just opens up with the and then it goes in the but like the way that
a lot of metal
does
guitar
that
on
opening,
those two scenes too. The truck scene and the motorcycle scene, because they're right next to each other, have a lot of metal guitar. And
he's definitely different in the way that he produces, but it makes that, I think the most iconic thing about this movie is some of the visuals and the score. Those are actually the things in this movie that like really stand out to me, because I know those music cues. I'm not even as big of a music fan, as a Nightmare fan as you, but like I know where the music goes in the movie.
so you have the scene with the pickup, when the pickup shows up on screen, it's bah! big sting, right? And then that fades away to better. And in the background, he's got, not only does he have that I mean, it's straight up DX7 slap bass in your face the whole entire time it's going on. In the background is an anvil sound, very Terminator, just ding.
Imagine that. Imagine the guy who did the soundtrack for the Terminator.
Well, he didn't do the soundtrack for Terminator. He did. Jay Ferguson had one song in the Terminator. Oh. Yeah, one song. Brad Fiedel did the soundtrack for Terminator. Oh. He had one song in the film. It was a Jay Ferguson song, was what it was. It's one of the songs that plays in Tac Noir while she's there.
Oh,
yeah.
but
yeah, but sex, but
I mean, he also did Gleaming the Cube, and
he did an episode of Tales from the Crypt, and I recognized it instantly.
He did the Double Dragon movie.
He did, and in fact, I was going to bring that up. If you watch that movie, so the scene with Dan in the pickup truck,
yeah,
that music in that scene is in a minor key. He reworked that song to a major key for Double Dragon.
That's a hustle. I dig a good hustle.
It's awesome. It's literally the same song played on better instruments. Is all it is. So yeah, there's that.
And he did the fucking theme for Melrose Place. What the fuck?
I didn't know that. Well, and so yeah, one of the other things I love about this film, besides the soundtrack is amazing. And actual music from and inspired by soundtrack is great too, because it's a great mix of what we love about the 1980s, heavy metal and hip hop. You get some great hip hop tracks on there. Houdini's on there, Cool Mo D, Dr. Ice, and then the other side of that, you got Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden. Wasp.
Whenever he went solo for a little bit there.
Yeah, and it was a song that when he reunited with Iron Maiden, they'd later do an Iron Maiden version of it. Mm-hmm. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. Mm-hmm. And Wasp is on there, as well as
Mammoth,
yes.
Fucking Schoolie D. I forgot Schoolie D.
Oh, Schoolie D. Yeah, Schoolie D's on there.
Because we are the Aqua Teens.
The Houdini song, right, on the soundtrack is they made a music video for it, and there's a great moment in that music video that I've always loved, where you've got it's all the dancing Freddies, and they're kind of moving apart, like because they're like doing like the Running Man, they're kind of moving apart, but then the background is just a guy who looks like a cross between Ozone from Breakin', right? There's that cross between him and Father Guido Sarducci. And when I was a kid, I never saw Breakin'. So I see the guy and I'm like, why is Father Guido in this? He's in this music video for no reason. And then of course you have one of you have all of that other stuff. You have all this metal, and then you have all this rap, and then right in the middle of the soundtrack, Samantha fucking Fox. And I say Samantha fucking Fox because if you've ever listened to any Samantha Fox, every single one of her songs is about fucking. Mm-hmm. It's just Samantha Fox loves to fuck. That's just how it goes. You know what I'm saying? And then I know you hate on it. I do. I personally love the acting in this movie. I know they were rushed, and I'm giving them a pass because they were rushed. But I think every character, as much as they possibly could, does bring enough energy.
You're allowed to enjoy the acting in this movie because people are allowed to enjoy the voice acting in Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, I just think when you have certain lines and the way that they're delivered, I get the pool party scene. But it's not just the voices. It's also the little mannerisms that they do, right? I think that's a big part of it for me. Two of my favorite scenes involving Mark, the pool party, where Dan is like, I got to go answer the phone. Don't touch this, okay? He's pointing at the champagne bottle. It's like, don't touch this, okay? Greta's like, okay, we'll guard it with our lives. And then there's Mark. He leans over and he goes, he just starts tapping the top of it, which is just a great moment. Like everybody, I think there was genuine laughs during that because he did that. And then there's the scene where it's right after Greta's death. They go to find him, and he's skateboarding, and he's looking like he's not looking straight down. He's kind of looking down at an angle, right? And he's just kind of like keeping his eyes where he's going, but he's just kind of, and they said, I want to talk to you guys about Greta. He goes, well, I'm very sorry. Greta's dead today. Can we interest you in someone else? It doesn't even break his stride. He just keeps going. And it's that I understand that ideal of somebody really close to you just passed away and you're numb. And he did that perfectly. And when it's like I said, it's written better in the book. He snaps at Yvonne being like, why don't you shut up and let her talk? 2 of us have died in the past 2 days. Does this strike you as particularly normal? Right? He's getting all in her face. In the book, it's written as him yelling at Alice. And he's just all he's like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. And Alice is like, but I'm trying to warn you guys, like if you fall asleep, Kruger will get you. And he's like, look, I just lost my girlfriend. I just lost my girlfriend, and I cannot believe for the life of me.
Were they an actual couple in the
book?
Novel?
They were, yeah.
Because they weren't in the movie.
They weren't in the movie. In the book, they were an actual couple.
To the point that I would think that Mark was gay if it wasn't for the one line where he was talking about how much he loved Greta.
But he says to her, he says to Alice, he's like, I can't get over the fact that she choked on a piece of fucking fish. So I don't want to hear your theories about some asshole from Dreamland. I just want to be left alone. And I'm like, if that line had been in the movie, man, I just wanted to see Joe Seeley just be all like, I want to hear your fucking theories about some asshole from Dreamland. And I just cannot believe she died in a piece of fucking fish. I wanted to see that reaction. But instead we got, they get out, which is his worst line in the film.
Well, Skunk, I know that you had a nice cathartic time talking about
I could talk about this movie for hours.
But we need to move on. We need to move on to news.
We do. We have to. You said you have some news for me.
I just have news in general. It doesn't. But this bit of news, the first bit of news that I have, you're probably going to be pretty happy about.
Okay, hit me.
Bad Trip finally came out. You can finally watch Bad Trip. It came out 2 days ago on Netflix, and it's going to be what I am doing immediately after this. If you don't know what Bad Trip is, it's that fucking movie that Eric Andre filmed whenever he was on a hiatus.
I saw that earlier on because it was going through Netflix, and I saw that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's an Eric Andre film." But I didn't. I was gonna tell Joe put it on, but then I was like, I have to come do the show. Yeah. I do kind of want to see that because I saw the trailer, and the trailer was fucking hilarious.
On April 1st, I get that it's April Fool's Day, but that's not what we're here to discuss. Creepshow Season 2 comes out, and the first episode is actually written. Let's see here. It is written by Rob Schraub, and which you should know is Dan Harmon's friend, also the guy who made Scud, the disposable assassin.
I was gonna say
he wrote it, and Greg Nicotero is directing it. It's a love letter. It's a love letter to Evil Dead about Deadites, actual Evil Dead Deadites taking over a public access network.
Sweet. That sounds a little bit like Demons.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Paramount Plus, which is a streaming service that I do not have and I don't care too much about, they did add some things, and I like to bring this up every now and then because people like to know what's on things. But they actually added all of All Real Monsters and all of Are You Afraid of the Dark? So now there is a place that you can go online to watch all that if you wish to. If this was a couple years ago, you could have just watched that shit on Verve for pretty much free. But hey, everybody has a streaming network.
If you do that, by the way, and you do decide to watch episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark, I recommend The Phone Police and Tale of the 13th Floor.
Phone Police is good.
Phone Police is good. Tale of the 13th Floor is also good. Tale of the 13th Floor is better than Phone Police.
Speaking of Rakikatero, one of his best friends is Tom Savini.
I want to bring this up real quick while I'm thinking about it. I watched that Phone Police episode recently, and I forgot how much the girl in that episode looks like my aunt. So I hated her, and then she was a bitch, and I hated her even more. So whoever you are, actress, I don't fucking like you.
Or you did really good in your role.
Yeah, he made me hate your face. Partially because you look like your face looks like my.
Like MJF, his face just looks like a face you want to punch. That's what makes you a good heel. Tom Savini got hit by a car.
God damn, man.
Tom Savini got hit by a car. He is recovering.
Okay.
He posted on Instagram under his own volition. He was in the hospital. Posted some photos of it with the tagline, "Have you ever shoulder blocked an incoming car and then shattered its windshield with your head?" But we know that Tom Savini is built like a fucking tank.
Yeah.
So he probably did a lot of damage to that car.
He's done his own stunts before, so.
Yeah, and he's just gotten bigger since he's got.
And also, I mean, you can't stop that goatee. That goatee stops you. Okay, you don't fuck with Sex Machine. Sex Machine fucks you.
Guess what turns 42 years old today?
Today?
Today specifically.
Turns how old?
42.
42. So that would be 7 years older than I am. So let's see. 7 years older than I am would be 79.
You're good at math.
Something that came out in 79 in March. I'm going to guess. It's not Halloween. It's not Friday the 13th. That was 80.
I'm just going to tell you, it's Phantasm. Phantasm turns 42 years old today. That's how old Phantasm is. Let that sink in for a second. There might be people in chat that remember seeing Phantasm whenever they were kids and it had come out. I don't know, because I'm quite sure that there are people that are older than us in here. But
well, Dan is older than us, but Dan wasn't really a horror guy. Sci-fi guy. So, Dan remembers Star Wars.
More horror movie news.
Yes.
On April 24th, I think it is. Let me make sure that yes, on April 24th, they are currently selling tickets for a live stream and video on demand for Evil Dead 2, where Bruce Campbell will be doing live commentary.
Oh, sweet.
If you want just the video on demand and live stream, it's $25. If you want to get a poster with that, it makes it $55. There was an autograph poster. It's sold out. They have a VIP, which is the VIP Extreme. Live stream, VOD, autographed event-exclusive poster, and a 2-minute Zoom meet and greet session with Bruce Campbell.
Sweet.
50 tickets, and that's selling out. So it's $350. For $2,500, it was all that, plus a chainsaw replica of Ash's hand that is going to be autographed live on the stream by Bruce Campbell.
Right on.
That sold out. Somebody bought that. But
cool.
I still think that it's going to be really cool, and I'm looking forward to hearing like a live commentary from Bruce Campbell. I think that's going to be a neat thing. So I'm probably going to go ahead.
Bruce is good at ad-libbing too, so he'll be able to come up with shit. You hear some of these commentary tracks of some people, there's like, oh yeah, this scene,
I have one more piece of news, and it's just
the comic book that's happening right now. The comic book death is happening right now behind you.
It sure is. Lil Nas X has pissed off an entire group of people, and I am for it.
Oh, because it came out as...
No, okay, so his new music video features... He's playing all the roles from what I can tell in the music video. Yeah. And it essentially ends up with him taking a stripper pole to hell and giving Satan a lap dance. And on top of that, he's also selling these shoes that they're calling Satan shoes, and it's a modified Nike. Get this, it's a modified Nike done by Mischief, who I think they're doing a couple of them, like a couple run, and you can buy it from them. But it has in the sole 99% red ink and one actual drop of human blood in every shoe
Oh,
in
okay.
this
So
soul.
he's doing the kiss thing.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, see, boat here. I've literally accomplished nothing all day because I've been absolutely living for the Twitter shitstorm that the video has caused. I'm all for it. I love it. Oh my god, it is one of the greatest things, and I think that people should be able to explore their sexuality in any way that they wish. I think that people should have the rights to put out the music videos, such as what Lil Nas X has done. I absolutely love that this is happening, and it's so funny that all these people that want to talk about how the left cancel everything are the people that are now trying to
Yeah.
cancel Lil Nas X and not realizing the irony of the situation.
Oh, they never do. Any other news?
April 1st, we're going to be at VHS Insanity in Tennessee. I don't remember, Jacksboro or some shit like that. So I'm going to be showing up. It's going to be me. It's going to be Plastic. It's going to be Mike. We're going to be probably filming a video for the YouTube channel.
Yay, fun times. I will unfortunately won't be there.
Yes, I knew that you wouldn't be there. And then, of course, we're just going to bring up again that in late August, mid-August, we're going to be at CreepyCon.
CreepyCon. Come join us at CreepyCon. We're going to have a table and everything. We're going to be showing off the video game. I'm going to be drunk. It's going to be good times.
Yeah, sure. You can be drunk, but you got to be like not.
Don't worry.
Overly skunk rocker.
I will behave myself. Everybody
behave yourself. Behave yourself, fool. And I will likely be intoxicated in other ways.
Support us on Patreon. There's the Patreon link. I just put it in chat for everybody, so you can click on it. Please support us on Patreon. Help the business grow a little bit. And we try to do awesome things. We want to continue to do awesome things. We'd like to be able to do awesome things without me having to worry about I'd like to go up to the VHS show on April 1st. I can't. I have a job. And
we also want to film some more content. And
yes.
For us to be able to actually film content, we need monetary coming in now.
Yeah.
We've had some ideas floating around our head. Might be a short film coming, might be an actual movie. We don't know. We don't know how things turn out. But we have all of these ideas and all of these things that we want to do, and we can't do it without everyone's help. So if you wish to go ahead and pledge to the Patreon, we'll make it worth your while in content at least.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out the whole Patreon thing, but we're going to get it figured out one of these damn days.
Toss me $1 and I'll blow you a kiss. How about that?
There's one for free. The rest you got to pay for. All right.
Hey, somebody, that's Facebook. Hey, Damian Sampson, go fuck yourself.
I have no idea what the hell this is all about.
Hey, it is a bot, so everybody's gonna hang out while I ban this fucker because I need this to stay up. So keep talking about your favorite movie.
Oh, okay. So there's this one really great scene in Nightmare on Elm Street 5 where
all right, we're good.
They have the book out.
You can stop now.
Oh, okay. Oh, can I talk about the lamp real quick from Nightmare 5?
Yeah, you can quickly discuss the lamp.
There's a really weirdly shot scene in Nightmare 5 where Mark sits down to read a book. And then the scene cuts away to Alice trying to find Amanda. This is when Yvonne's sleeping. And he sits down to read this book, and there's a lamp. It's really weirdly shot with this lamp. The lamp is obviously the focus of the scene for some reason. That is because there was a deleted scene that was never filmed. It was cut. It is in the novelization, though. When he's reading the book, Freddy's clawed hand is supposed to come out and knock the book out of his hand, and him go, "What the fuck? Did I just see that?" And they cut it out. So if you ever watch that movie again, when he sits down to read the book, look at the lamp. The lamp is the center focus of the shot for a reason. It's very weird.
Well, all right, I'll obviously have to watch it again because I got to edit some shit for you. So
Oh well, I watch it all the time. I love that movie. I'll put that movie on whenever I'm bored because I love
I do
it.
that with What We Do in the Shadows.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Good show too. But anyway, I think it's time to say goodbye because we're 10 minutes over the time that we were supposed to shut this down. Plus, I have to pee like really bad. I don't know if anybody's noticed. I'm doing the pee pee dance over here.
Now it's time to say goodbye to Zorak and his friends. I don't remember the rest of that song. That was the outro of Cartoon Planet.
Yeah.
I'll memorize it and we'll do it sometime.
All right. Well, hey, Adri, say goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody!
Bye.